We've talked about that. We've had that story on.
Well, he's a twink.
So, are we doing this or not? What are we doing?
Bake the gay cake?
No, that's not what it... The Supreme Court heard the case of the baker.
Did you hear what Sotomayor was saying?
That was forced... Not only was he forced to bake a cake, he's been forced to institute training for his employees.
That's ridiculous.
Where he essentially is required to say how important LGBTQ and those marriages are, and that is to our culture, and essentially embrace it.
Yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Now,
the Supreme Court heard the case.
Yeah.
I heard half of the questions seemed to be in favor of the ACLU, and half of the questions seemed to be in favor of the baker.
Right. Imagine that. I'd heard these people went out of their way to go to this baker. They had lawsuits in hand and news people. And
Why else would they go
7 or 8
there?
miles. Well, if this guy
Unless
would
they
have been
really
smart,
just didn't know.
and he wasn't smart, but if a bunch of people came up, a bunch of reporters came up to my business, and it was gay people demanding a cake, I'd say, okay, what color of frosting?
He did.
Oh, he did?
He would bake the cake.
Oh.
He would bake the cake for anybody.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't be part of I think he didn't want to deliver it or something.
Oh.
I don't know the exact details. He didn't want to be part of the ceremony of the marriage.
Well,
he would
I didn't know that.
He'll sell you a cake.
I thought he wouldn't do it.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, well,
one of them anyway. I think it was him.
Nobody,
he would bake it.
I don't think anybody can make you be part of the wedding.
The government can. Well,
maybe
the non-elected officials in his state or town can. The whatever cultural ethics commission or something.
Money well spent.
Has power. Yeah, no kidding. The cool thing about that is we'll probably have to wait until June to hear about it. Because they like to, it's a big one, so they like to do it right before their term's up and recess and all that. And
they can get out of town.
Kennedy might not come back.
Get out of town so they don't get stoned.
Essentially, yeah.
So get out of town so they can get stoned.
But well, half of them get stoned, and half of them completely support the war on drugs.
Right. Damn it. The war on drugs is a war on you.
Yeah. You know what else is a war on you? Federal gun laws.
Oh, you're
any sort.
I know you want to get into this because you are so against this. It's not even funny. But U.S. House passes concealed pistol carry reciprocity, 231 to 198, with 6 Democrats supporting it and 14 Republicans opposed.
Mm-hmm.
Amish. What's his name? Amash. Yeah,
Amish. The Amish didn't even know it was
they
happening.
Didn't even know
they
it.
don't get C-SPAN.
They carry wherever the hell they want.
They tried to watch the live stream, but they couldn't do it without the electricity.
Well, the poor little girl out there was spinning the thing trying to get the electric going. She had a heart attack.
I would talk about all the people we offended, but they can't hear us.
They can't hear us. Oh, they'll read about it in the weekly paper. We'll hear about it in church. All right. So did you listen to those 2 guys in the Odd show? Damn English.
Yeah.
I'd like to jump in my car and, my buggy and show them a thing or two.
That's terrible.
So he was against it, but
who? Justin Amash.
He's
from Michigan.
I know he is. He's a real constitutional kind of guy,
and
that's what he was opposing it on.
In part,
there's been a lot of misinformation going around, especially the gun community, about this bill.
Sure,
and everybody's scared. But really, what it's doing is it's allocating a bunch of money to try to get states to comply with the NICS.
You're talking about one of the so-called
provisions,
NICS fix.
Yeah.
One of the things that was added kind of last minute to the national reciprocity bill.
Yeah, reciprocity. Yeah, there you go. Big words again. Mm-hmm. But all it is a bunch of money, and they're going to try, because there's some states that don't even.
Is that all it is?
It's
all
money.
It is $800 billion,
well,
and
a lot of
we
money.
shouldn't worry about it. Is that what you're saying?
You're reading too much into that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You know what assumptions mean.
Oh, you said that's all it is.
Well,
that's all.
Other people were saying it was all kinds of horrible stuff, but it's just getting states to comply with it. And the other was that they were going to direct the Bureau of Justice Statistics to study all crimes involving firearms and report back to Congress in 6 months about how many involve weapons with bump fire stocks.
Yeah.
How many crimes were used with bump fire stocks?
Here's the thing.
I'll tell you how many there were this last 100 years.
One? I don't think that's true. I'm sure there were more crimes.
Well,
but there was one mass shooting and one crime of any, size with bump fire stocks. Okay, I don't know if you copy and pasted this or not.
I did.
You did. So study all crimes involving firearms. And so, yeah, all crimes involving firearms and how many involve weapons with bump fire stocks. To me, that would include somebody that stole a firearm that had a bump fire stock on it.
That could be, yeah, it might.
Which who cares? That's not relevant to anything useful.
So I have discussion points.
Well,
go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not done yet because you glossed over. You said the Nix fix is allocating $800 billion.
I wanted to get to the
$800 billion. This is anti-gun. $800 billion. You say it's just allocating it to get the states to comply. It's $800 billion being spent to coerce states into reporting more information.
I didn't say it was right.
It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible.
I'm just saying that's what it entailed.
Yeah, in Michigan it may not make a big difference because we already submit fingerprints to get a concealed pistol license.
I'm more concerned about using the Interstate Commerce Clause as an excuse to regulate states and firearms. There's no business in it. This does not... Carrying my concealed pistol across state lines is not commerce.
So the problem is Republican or gun people supporting using the Interstate Commerce Clause gives credence to the years and years and years of the left using it to restrict gun rights. Yeah. Because every gun bill that the federal government passes uses the Interstate Commerce Clause because
there's a Supreme Court decision on it.
Your gun was made with resources that probably cross state lines. It's very hard to build a gun and all resources, all labor, everything from raw materials to finished product within a state. If they were, then they may be exempt from most federal firearm laws.
So I suppose you could regulate with that clause then the commercial manufacture and selling of firearms, but you couldn't use it like they do in the school zones,
right?
And registering it, getting by registrations and all that kind of stuff. They use a lot of laws that use that Commerce Clause, which is bad. And I think that's one of the reasons you would oppose this bill, along with the $800 billion or whatever.
No, I'm philosophically...
Was it $800 billion? I don't think it was that.
It was like $790 billion. Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Or $80 billion or something.
I thought it was
780, I mean.
Oh, I thought it was like $80 billion or something. I guess we could look it up, but...
Okay, in your mind, what's the difference between $80 billion and $780 billion? I mean, there's
$700 billion.
That's how much is that? You can't even comprehend
like
that.
6-7 times more.
Yeah, you can't. You don't.
I can count. I'm a geologist. I deal with billions of years all the time, but not 700.
But not
750 billion,
and not dollars.
No, I mean the universe is only about 13.9 billion.
And we're talking more. I thought it was
13.6.
I philosophically oppose federal firearm laws.
Period.
I oppose national reciprocity, a federal law enforcing national reciprocity just on the face.
Okay, so what you're saying is states then would have the right to ban firearms.
No, I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
No.
Because the Second Amendment only applies to the federal government, or at least that's your thinking.
That's not my thinking at all.
Well, that's the federal government.
That's not my thinking at all.
So how can the federal government impose the Second Amendment on states?
That's not the issue.
It isn't?
I don't think that's the issue here, is it? Because are you telling me that national reciprocity would stop a state from not allowing their citizens to own firearms? They couldn't ban them?
No, I'm going with, you said you wanted to get the federal government out of all firearm laws.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the basic
I don't know
of
any
Second Amendment.
Are there any? No, that's not a law.
It kind of is.
Come on. We'll go back to our original discussion of the Jerusalem. Was it a law? It's not a law.
It's something that the federal government has to abide by.
Yeah, right.
Originally. Mm-hmm. So if it's just the federal government, then the states, having states' rights, should be able to do whatever they want.
Maybe. I don't know.
Including slavery.
That's a different argument. That's a completely different argument. So we're talking about, should the federal government pass any law that regulates the states and requires them to recognize a license from another state?
You mean like a driver's license or?
I mean 100% like a driver's license. Okay. It's exactly what I mean. There is no federal law mandating states recognize driver's licenses from other states.
States got together and worked that out.
People figured it out.
Yeah. Well, that's what we have now, essentially.
Yeah. National reciprocity, essentially, I mean, us from Michigan, it adds like 12 states.
That's not the point either. It's about the poor woman that was in, Pennsylvania, had a concealed pistol, ended up in New Jersey and was arrested.
Oh, it's horrible. Yeah. Absolutely terrible. We must do something, pass laws.
No, I mean,
come on.
It's the same.
The real problem, because just having a law isn't necessarily a huge issue, but what it does is it opens the floodgates for the federal government having their hands in states issuing concealed pistol licenses or any right to carry a firearm. Now all of a sudden the federal law has a hook in there, or the federal government has a hook in there. Mm-hmm. The next step, when it's not Republicans in charge, might be much different.
Okay, and so what? They rescind it? Then you're back to where we are today.
No, not rescind it. They say, well, the national reciprocity, except it doesn't apply to guns with magazines that hold more than 10 rounds, or it doesn't apply to black firearms because they're scary, or you can't carry a bump fire stock across state lines because that's terrible.
And it includes these gun-free zones because right now it's eliminating a bunch of gun-free zones.
And it includes all gun-free zones, which is everything, including public roads.
Ooh.
Yeah, exactly. It's a
slippery slope?
Like everything else. I don't know why anybody would want the federal government involved in something they don't need to be involved in.
Scary.
Doesn't make sense to me.
I'd heard that the verbiage was basically the Law Enforcement Safety Officer Act that allows police officers to carry guns anywhere.
Oh, yeah? Just copy and pasted it, but took law enforcement out?
Right. It's almost exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
Here's the thing. I would benefit from it. I'm not saying I wouldn't, because it would be real easy now to go to Chicago and carry a firearm and not have to worry about where it is.
I would visit New York City.
Would you?
Yeah.
That'd be the first thing?
No, not the first thing, but I'd go there and knowing that I would be able to carry a gun.
Yeah, it'd be nice. It would be really nice.
Or Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Or Puerto Rico. I get there quite often.
Well, would it apply to Puerto Rico?
Yes, it said that in there.
Okay.
States, territories, District of Columbia, all that was in there.
Nice.
All right, so can we move on? You don't like it?
Let's take a break. No, I don't like it.
And we might not talk about it when we get back.
We might. Oh, you want to keep going?
Well, we could go real quick. I just want. What? You think it'll pass the Senate? A lot of people saying no, they don't have the votes.
I think
the Senate could.
I think it will
chew it up. They could split off the amendments and take them out. Do you think the amendment was added to sabotage a bill, knowing that it probably wouldn't pass the Senate?
No.
Okay. Now we can take a break. I got a trivia question.
That was it.
That was it.
You didn't even want to give your thoughts, huh?
I don't have any thoughts. You know that.
Yeah, I know that.
You know this because you're a constitutional scholar. You'll know this trivia question. Don't blurt it out. How long do you have to be a resident of the United States before you can become president?
Okay, I won't blurt it out.
Okay, and that's it, right? We're going to break.
Yeah, we'll be.
And everybody call in or email in and give us your guesses.
Okay, we'll be right back.
It's more than 2 days.
All right.
Lock it in. And rip the knob off. Red State Talk Radio.
My Parents Open Carry, a pro-gun kids book from White Feather Press. 13-year-old Brenna and her parents spend their day in typical fashion. But what's not so typical is that Brenna's parents lawfully open carry handguns for self-defense.